Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we'll be taking a look at the shortcuts for sinking ship. Again, the solo category, any percent, speedrun.com. Let's get into this. So this first shortcut will be taking place in the room with the first button. And you just want to jump from the truss to this platform. Again, it's easier to face the platform so you can climb on top of it if your jump is a little short. Same tip I showed on the dark side video. This one is very easy, so you don't have to worry about this one too much. So our second shortcut takes place right next to the second button. Instead of taking the vent all the way around, you can actually clip through the fence by going right in this corner with your arm all the way like this. Then when you press shift, you can actually clip through the fence. Alright, so the way to do this is make sure you're actually in the pillar, so not like this, like my first attempt, but actually in this corner. And if your left arm just about touches this box, you know you're in the right spot. And then if you press shift, you can just clip through like that. So our next shortcut takes place right after the vent room. When you come through this door, we can skip the part with the boxes here by jumping up here with a wall hop. This shortcut consists of two parts. The first one is what I just said, wall hopping up there. But you can actually do the second part by getting a back jump on this part and wall hopping to the ladder, which saves a little bit of time. For now, let's just focus on the first part. So there's actually multiple ways to do this first part. The first thing you have to know is that you can make it from the ground, but if you hold W or S into the wall, depending on what camera angle you're using, your jump is shorter. So if you want to do it that way, you'll have to jump twice like this. Now this is actually one of the safest way to do it, because it is very easy to do, because you have a clear setup that you have to use. But I like to do it another way, and that is by standing on the ground, because as I said, you can actually make it from the ground. Now if you jump right now, and you don't hold any angle, so just neutral, and then at the apex of your jump, when you press shift lock, you can just get the jump. And of course you can also do this by just flicking at the apex of your jump. And that's the way I usually do it, because it's a little bit quicker. You can just walk to the wall like this, but it's also a bit easier to fail, so it really comes down to whatever way works the best for you, because doing a slower but safer way loses less time than when you try to do it the quick way and you fail. Now the quickest way to do this, and the way I do it in the speedruns, is by going immediately after this door from this part. Then you can grab onto the thin part, so instead of having to jump to this platform, you can grab onto the thin part like this and just continue. Alright, that took longer than I care to admit, but like I said, I never go for this one, and that's why I will not be showing an in-game example of this one. So our next shortcut takes place in the tower room. Usually there would be a slide here, but you can just jump around this wall. And you can also skip this part by making your way on top of this blue pole. There's two ways to do that. First one is by getting a back jump on this part like you just saw. Let me try that again real quick. Yeah, like that. The second way to make it on the blue pole is by doing a wall hop in this part, and this is usually the way I do it, because there's a very easy way to do it. First you want to make sure you're facing the wall like this, with about this camera angle. Then you're gonna jump from the edge, and at the apex of, or when you hit the wall, and at the apex of your jump, you're gonna press shift lock. You're gonna make sure you keep holding jump as well. That's gonna look a bit like this. It's very consistent, and I recommend you go for this one because it does save a lot of time. Small bonus, in the Flood Escape physics sandbox, if you do a back jump on this part, you actually clip outside the map, which is pretty funny. So this is probably the most well-known shortcut on sinking ship. And again, there's two ways to do it. You can do it with a wall flick like this. Or, and this is the way I do it, like on the previous one, you can face the wall with camera rotated the other way, and then you're just gonna press shift lock while holding jump. Like that. And you can also jump from this part right on top of the box. And it sets you up nicely to continue. So this one's quite easy. Go for this one as well because it does save a lot of time, like the last one. Now this isn't actually a shortcut on the solo category, but I'm gonna show you this anyway. Because if you're struggling with wall hops, this is probably the best way to practice them. Because it's very easy to see. It's good to learn how to wall hop while moving to a direction. And that's why it is good practice. So you can try to make it on top of this platform. Or you can just, you know, practice your flicks. So our next shortcut is located near the end of the tower room. This is one of the more difficult shortcuts. So don't go for this one if you want to just go for an average speed run. If you're trying to go for a really good speed run, this is worth going for. So it is definitely worth practicing this one. But for this one, you want to get a back jump on this right part of the ladder. Then you want to just wall hop across towards the truss, and that way you skip a whole bunch of level. So that is what it looks like, and if you're having trouble with the fast back jump, there's also an easy way to get the back jump like this. Obviously this would never work in game because the ladder is much longer. There's no ground to jump from to this part, but if you're having trouble with the fast back jump and you just want to practice the wall hops, this is one way to do that. It would look a bit like this. Now this next one is very similar to the last one, but this isn't quite as extreme of a back jump. So there's a very easy way to do this. Because when you climb to the top of the ladder and you hold spacebar, you actually jump high enough to get the wall up. So an easy setup would be to climb to the top of the ladder like this on the most right side to make this jump easier. Then hold spacebar and just press shift lock and then wall hop across. That way is actually very easy. This one is not that difficult, so I would recommend practicing this one. Now, of course, you can also do this one with a fast back jump, but you actually get a little too much height, so you would have to time your flick a little better. But it does actually save extra time if you go for the fast back jump instead of climbing the ladder. Now those are pretty much all the shortcuts you need to know about in order to get a good run for sinking ship. There's actually a bunch more little shortcuts and optimizations that are not in the physics sandbox, but I will show you those in my full run. So without further ado, let's get into a full run. Here we go.